bum, bum.
Thanks for tuning in to more thoroughbred horse racing talk on the Playbook Sports Horse Report, Prime Sports Network. Jon Hardoon joining us from the Ragozin Sheets, thesheets.com, and Mark Lawrence, of course, from playbooksports.com. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Doing just great, guys. Let's have a great weekend. Nice weekend at Belmont this week for sure.
Yeah, we're on a nice little run, too. We've had at least one winner for the last month or so. So, John, did both of you guys hit the winner last week, or was that just you, John?
No. Mark had it.
Both of you guys had. What was that winner? That was it. That paid about $9, right?
Yeah, I think $8.80 maybe.
Very nice. So we were able to hit that out of our two races last week. They were at Gulfstream Park. This week we've got Belmont. Now they're the three graded stakes races to choose from. And we decided to go with 8 and 9. We did not go with race 7. That's the Belmont Oaks Invitational. And in that race, we decided, well, there's if you take a look at it, the horse that's the favorite, Santa Barbara, is an even money shot who's never raced in the States. And I actually, this is probably not a bad race, John, to pick a couple of other horses, because I don't know why this horse is an even money shot, but Mark, I know that you had a question regarding these imports.
I do, and it pertains to what you just mentioned, Greg. That race is loaded with 3 European horses that are coming in to race for the first time ever in the U.S., obviously for the big purse. And again, I scratched my head like you did. Why is Santa Barbara an even money favorite in this race? What do the odds makers do with these horses, John? I know you've got the sheets which you could rely on heavily, okay, with the numbers, but how do the odds makers set numbers to these European horses coming over here racing for the first time? We're going to have that in 1 or 2 of our races as well.
Well, the problem is that you have to find horses that they ran against in Europe and see how they did here when they shipped here. You know, so apparently horses that Santa Barbara ran against in Europe obviously have come here and done very well. You know, she's only 1 for 4. I just find it hard to believe that they made her even money. But the problem with the race is that you have 3 Europeans, so really they're unknowns. And then you have 5 other horses, and everybody in the race is within a point or 2 of each other. So in those cases, you really want to try to beat the favorite. But again, you know, you're dealing with unknowns. European horses are going to have an advantage the way the turf course is because of all the rain that we've had yesterday and all day today. So that turf course is going to be slow and boggy and really mush, to be honest with you. And that's what they run on for the most part in Europe. So they have a big advantage coming in to begin with. That being said, to me, it's an impossible betting race because you have, again, just too many horses that are close in numbers, and we have 3 major horses from Europe. You know, Aidan O'Brien is one of the best trainers, if not the best trainer in Europe, and he ships in Santa Barbara. So, you know, part of the even money is respect to him because he's that good a trainer.
He's the Bob Baffert of Europe then, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I know, Mark, you like the 1 in that race, a 5-1 shot, the one with Pratt on board. And I actually think that the Brown-Ortiz combo, the 3 at 12-1's not a bad idea, coming off back-to-back 11s. And we also like the 7, you and I, Mark, Plum Alley. So those are a few horses to keep in mind for race 7.
I agree with you, by the way, on the 3. I think the 3's worth a play if you get anywhere near 12-1. Well, if the number is as good or better than anyone else,
yeah,
why not go for value?
Okay, let's go with race number 8 at Belmont. This is a 6.5 furlong race, and this is the Victory Ride, a Grade 3 race. This is a race for fillies. And in this one, and we'll talk about Australasia a little bit later on, the 7 horse, who's 6 for 6 at 2-1. So we're going to try to beat her, and I think we've got an opportunity to do that. Let's start with the 1, and that is Bella Sophia. And Bella Sophia is a 4-1 shot. Anything about, let's see, Franco's riding this horse for the first time at 4-1. What do you think about Bella Sophia? Why'd you like the horse, John? Tough on the rail, 6.5 furlongs, 11 and 9 to start her career.
Well, that's exactly why. She ran a 9 first out. They took her off of Lasix last time. She bounced to the 11. She has a shot to make a forward move. She's 4-1. You know, I think the race personally is 1, 2, 3. You know, the three
Yes.
inside horses. That's what I make the race, and I'm just negative on most of the rest of the field. So off the power of the 9 and 11 she ran with time off coming in, you know, and she's getting weight from the rest of the field. She's in with 118, where other horses are carrying as high as 124 pounds. So for that reason, I kept her in. I think she's a player here. And again, I like the three inside horses.
All right, and next up is one of those. That's the 2. This is a horse that I definitely like as well. Inject. She's coming off back-to-back 11s, back-to-back wins. So these are the best 2 races of her career. You're getting 8-1 with Gaffalione and Cox. So yeah, I mean, at 8-1, if we can keep that number there, John, this is a good one.
Yeah, my only concern, there's good news and bad news about this horse. The good news is that her career debut last year, she ran a 12 first out, which is a very strong number for a 2-year-old filly. You know, and then she tailed off, and she came out this year and got Lasix for the first time for the 17 on a wet track when she made her first start since joining the Brad Cox barn, and she's improved with each race. The question is, though, did she improve because of the Lasix, or did she improve because she's a 3-year-old filly? So at 8-1, even though she's coming off of Lasix tomorrow, the fact that she has the 12 as a 2-year-old, I think is strong, and I think this horse is a major player here. And if you really get 8-1, I think that may be the right way to go.
John, let me ask you this question about this 2-horse here. I noticed that when the horse broke its maiden, they came right back. Huff came right back and put this horse in a graded 3 stakes race, and the horse was just absolutely destroyed. Do you think that mentally affects a horse like it does a human being? Just the fact that he raced so well in his maiden and then come back and just no-showed in the next race against much tougher competition?
Well, he had excuses. First of all, it was a 2-year-old filly that ran a big figure and came back with no rest. So right off the bat, you would play a horse like that to react. Also, she was asked to go a distance of ground in her second start, and she did have trouble in that race. But, you know, that could be the reason that it took all this time to refocus and come back to the good numbers that she's running now. And now, if you notice, Cox is doing a smart thing. He's giving her time between races, which is good. The spacing is right coming into the race. And originally I was going to give out the 3, but the more I look at this horse, if you're really getting 8-1, you know, this is probably the right way to go.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, the 3 is your top play and a horse that we all like, and that is Miss Brazil. The only problem is Miss Brazil is 5-2. So the odds are not going to benefit you, but we can see why this is one of the co-favorites of the race. And as you can see on the sheets on the board there, she went 15, 11, 8. And then who cares about bouncing to the 10 when she, you know, I mean, because I looked here, John, and I was thinking, and I didn't see the race, but it's obvious that something happened to her in the beginning of the race that affected her.
Well, first of all, she was coming off of Lasix that day, and she only reacted 2 points off the 8, which is good. And she had trouble in that race as well. She had big trouble at the start. So she had an excuse, but she didn't even run bad. You know, that's why she's a little better than the rest of them. Not many horses, if any. I think the 7 horse is the only other horse in the race that's ever run an 8. She ran the 8 2 starts back. She only bounced 2 points. She's going to run the 8 again tomorrow. That's why I gave her a slight edge. But again, you know, the 2 is 8-1, and she's going to be clearly the second choice in this race. And those are the horses I like. 1, 2, and 3. I give a slight edge to the 3, Miss Brazil, because of that 8 that she has 2 starts back.
Mark?
I like the horse as well. He's my second choice in the race, and you know what I like are, you know, he loves he's 2 for 2 at the distance. He's 2 for 2 in the money at Belmont. You've got Dutch Rose and Jose Ortiz here. He won his only mount on this horse 2 races back, which was, I believe, John, the horse's best number.
Correct.
2 races, and he figured to bounce after that race.
Right.
But what I really like about the horse is he's like Scarface. He's full of bullets coming in here. He's had bullet works in 5 of his last 8 works. I like that stuff when you put it all together with a horse that's comfortable with the track and the distance.
Yeah, and as we'll talk about with the 7 a little bit later on, she's more consistent as far as her numbers than the 7, who is the one of the co-favorites. All right, let's get to the 4, Overcharged. And, at 10-1, I kind of figured that this isn't a bad idea to throw her into my exactas, which is what I'm going to do. I know she's lightly raced, only 2 starts, but she went from a 14 to a 9. She gets, I think, a decent, her time off, I think, is enough. She gets about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks, so I'm okay with that. Saez jumps on board for the first time. Matter of fact, Saez was on board the 1 horse. And for whatever reason, decides to go with the 4 horse.
Yeah, well, this horse ran that race at Monmouth. She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her, but you can't use them all. And it's not like the trainer wins that many races. He's okay. Obviously, Saez climbing aboard, and the fact that the horse is 2 for 2 are all good. No one knows how good this horse is. But she gets tested tomorrow. Let's see what she has.
Okay, the 5 is Super Sensational, an 8-1 shot. And Super Sensational is coming off a 13 in her last start, as you can see. And in the last 3, she's gone 20, 14, 13. So she's going in the right direction. She gets Pratt on board for the first time, John.
Yeah, but she's a little slower. She's yet to run a single digit. So, again, the plus is she's getting Pratt, but she looks a little slow.
Yeah, and the only 2 wins came at, what is that track again?
What is that track?
WO?
Woodbine. On synthetic track. It wasn't even on dirt. It was on
and that's
synthetic.
Not a top track. So.
Well, it's a top track, but
not like Belmont, though.
No, there are very few Belmonts.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the 6. And this is going to be Mark's top pick in the race, and that is Red Ghost. This is a Ward-Velasquez combination at 10-1, coming off back-to-back 14s, back-to-back wins, both with Velasquez, Mark.
Yeah, the combinations worked real well for this horse here. Johnny V on the horse the last 2 races, both wins, coming off a graded 3 stake win in that last race. Horse is 3 for 4. Out of 3 for 4 career races, he's won 3 times. If this horse moves forward, I think for the price for 10-1, that's why I've got him on top. I'd be curious to know what John says about his number. I have no idea whether his number fits the race or not.
Well, she's a little slow. She would obviously have to improve, but she does have the potential because her first career start last year was at 12. And a 12 was what Inject ran, and a 12 was what Miss Brazil ran, the 2 and 3 in the race. The only thing I don't like about the horse is her first 2 races. I understand she won both of them. However, figure-wise, they weren't good races. They may have been visually impressive and everything else that goes with it, but numbers-wise, when you break down the numbers, they're a little slower than other horses, but you're getting rewarded 10-1. I would never talk you off a 10-1 shot.
Yeah, with Johnny Velasquez, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's now go to the 7. Now, this is the favorite of the race, as we mentioned before. This is Australasia. But again, I think if you take a look at her numbers, and you mentioned, John, she did run an 8. Now, before that, as you can see on the sheets, it was a 16. And she's only basically off about a month. So that's right there on the window of bounce, especially 16 to 8. That's a big difference. She's never run an 8 before. The good thing was it was at Belmont. First time she ever run at Belmont. She's 6 for 6. You can't deny that. But as I said, John, I think if you compare the 7 with the other favorite, the 3, the 3's been a little bit more consistent with the numbers than Australasia.
Yeah, that being said, the horse is okay, but you're right. What's unusual about her is she ran a new top coming off of Lasix. Most horses need Lasix to run that new top. This horse came off Lasix and ran the 8. But that being said, if you see the last time she ran a top, which was a 10, 4 races back, the second start of the year, she ran the 10. Off of the 10, she reacted to the 14. So now she's coming off of an 8, which is even stronger than the 10. So, if she bounced off the 10 to a 14, why isn't she going to bounce off the 8? And for that reason, I would play against her at a short price. She's going to be the big favorite.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's undefeated. She's 6 for 6 lifetime. However, her first loss will come tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's been a heavy favorite in just about every race except her last race, which was the one that she went ahead and threw in the 8. So, all right. So, John, with that bold prediction there. Mark, what do you think about the favorite?
Well, just the fact that he's the favorite, I'm going to start making cases for the other horses, and I think there are cases to be made for other horses in this race. I think the horse has got a great jockey-trainer combination here, obviously, in Cox and Rosario, and that's going to ensure the favoritism of the horse here. But I'm like John. I can't back a favorite in a race that is lacking numbers, as John says here. I think there's other better horses in here to make cases for at better value.
And finally, the 8 Shop Girl, John, at 20-1. You've got a good combination, Clement and Castellano, but other than that, she's never done anything speed-wise.
No, she's slow figure-wise, and she would obviously have to come out and run a new top. She is off a layoff. She's never really done anything wrong, but she's asked to take a big leap forward today, and I don't think it's happening.
All right, so again, John's top pick is going to be well, actually, have you moved to the 2, John, Inject?
Well, at the price, I guess I'm going to lean towards the 2 because I like to give out value. I think that's the name of the game. I would use the 2 with the 1 and 3 in exactas, and your main punch should probably be 2, 3, 3, 2. You want to avoid the 7 at a short price.
All right, and Mark's top is Red Ghost, the 6, and my top is the 2, Inject. Okay, I think that's my top. I'll post it on the screen afterwards. It's up there. All right, race 9, the Belmont Derby, Grade 1, Belmont Derby Invitational. This is a long race, 1.25 miles. We don't like to do these races very often, but we decided to do it in this one. And this is a race that, I like the fact that there are a couple of favorites in this race that I believe are beatable. I think there's a ton of options to go with good prices. So I think this is a really good wagering race. We're going to start with the 1, Palazzi.
I just want to say one thing before we do the race. Our selections here are for turf only. The race has to remain on the grass. If the race comes off the grass, just delete this portion of the show and go ahead because again, we're doing it for turf, and obviously the turf course will be off due to all the rain they've had in the last 2 days. So if the race remains on the grass, our analysis will stay in play. If not, you're on your own.
Yeah.
John, on the sheets that you put out, on the sheets you put out, I know that you have when you do know that horses are going off the main track onto the turf, you will send a follow-up on that about what you see as a possible plays on the turf.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, let's start with 15-1 shot Palazzi, and this is one of the horses that I'm going to put into my exactas at 15-1. Like I said, I think there's 5 or 6 horses you could choose from. What I like about the horse, John, is that look very consistent with the 14s, 13s, 14s, and such. But she'll be going at this distance for the first time, and I think this might be an advantage for her. I look down the stretch to her results, and she's improved each time. 4-2, 11-5, 3-2, 4-3, 4-1. So maybe the distance, a little bit more distance, will help her out. Again, 15-1. I say why not?
Well, again, I don't knock 15-1 shots. I just think that you may have better options. The problem I personally have with this horse is she's progressively getting a little worse in each of her last 3 starts. She ran a 13 minus, then she ran a 13 1/4, then she ran a 14 minus. I'm nitpicking, but that's my job to nitpick.
And
it's got to be right.
And I'm showing the sheets here on the board, and that's important to note because it's not just about the number. You have to take a look also at little things like the minus sign and so forth, right?
And the line on the horse. You want to always play horses that are moving forward. You're allowed to bet a horse off of a bad race, that's for sure. Everyone's entitled to have a bad day, and a lot of times we have excuses for the bad day, whether it be a top, whatever it may be. So, again, we try to bet horses moving in the right direction as opposed to horses that could be tailing off, even though he ran second last time out. The number was not as good as the race 2 starts back when he ran 5th.
Okay.
That's all. The horse is fine again, but he hasn't done it in New York. I think you have other options.
Okay, now the 2 is one of the co-favorites, a 7-5 shot who has never raced in the States. But out of the 2 favorites, actually, you're going to... Well, actually, you tell me, John. Who do you like out of the... Because I know that you're going to put both of the favorites in the mix. So out of the 2 favorites, talk about this horse coming off, 16-11, 16, so nothing to shoot from. Why are you going to go with this horse at 7-5 in the mix?
Strictly because of the trainer, Aidan O'Brien, who I was telling you about. Second of all, he's run only on turf courses like he's getting tomorrow. If you look, he's been on soft, good, heavy yielding turf courses. That's exactly, if the turf course was hard as a rock like it usually is when it doesn't rain in New York, I wouldn't like this horse. But he's used to running on this. You know, he's been in big fields. He won a race with 14 horses in the field. Last time out, he was in 11 horse field. So he's used to running, you know, he's 3 for 6 lifetime. He's used to running in big fields, and he's used to running on this kind of course. And he's getting Aidan O'Brien brings him in. Not only that, he brings the jockey with him. You know, a lot of times these European horses ship in and they don't bring the rider. But the fact that he's bringing the rider means to me that this horse is well met.
I might add here, John, if I might, he's also the only horse in this race that's run this distance. He's done it 3 times and won twice.
3 at the distance. That's another reason. There you go. But believe me, there's no value in using a horse like this. He's going to be the favorite. He'll probably be 6 to 5. And, you know, I'm only using him out of respect because I plan on keying a long-priced horse in the race. So that being said, you know, why get beat by a favorite if you're using a 15 to 1 shot?
And do you, when horses do travel from outside the country, look, he hasn't had a lot of time off, so it's been a month. Do you say, well, I care more about the travel distance if I get a little bit more time off, or is it not, doesn't matter to you? If travel, the travel's the travel.
No, of course it matters. I mean, it's just, you know, common sense that it should take something out of the horse. Running and then coming here in 3 weeks is not to his advantage, believe me. But he could be that good. Who knows? It's not like he's meeting a field where the horse is running 10s and 8s. That's not here. You know, the best you're going to find is 11s. And he has the 11 2 starts back, which he ran at the distance on the same course that he's running tomorrow, on the same kind of, you know, footing that he's running tomorrow. So
okay, let's now. Well, actually, did I move that? Yeah, that's the sheets right there. You can see there, Bolshoi, Ballet. I'm putting them up right now. 16, 11, 16 in his 3 races here that we have sheet lines for him. Okay, now let's move on to the 3, and this is Safe Conduct. A 15 to 1 shot. Another horse that I'm going to put into my exactas to try to make some cash. I'm only looking, obviously, at the turf races. And when I do that, I see 17, 16, 13 going in the right direction, John.
Yeah, I mean, he's lightly raced. The 20 last time out was on a race that was rained off the turf without Lasix on a muddy track. So you certainly could draw a line through it. Previous to that, he had a 16 and 13. He's certainly live to run a 13 in here. And if you think you only need a 13, well, that puts you in the mix.
Mark?
Like John says, lightly raced. You know, is this a day of 3-year-olds at Belmont, John? Or is it just the big races all have 3-year-olds in them?
That's what it 3-year-olds.
A lot of them are lightly raced, as you mentioned here. But, you know, the horse has done well on turf. 3 races, 2 wins and a second. And after the horse ran 2 optional claiming races, he did run a grade 3 here, ran 4th after he broke the maiden here. I can understand why Greg's going to look for him for a little bit of money at the price of 15 to 1.
Okay, let's go with the 4th horse, and this is Sainthood. This is actually going to be my top pick at 10 to 1. Definitely like the combination of Pletcher and Rosario. Getting better a little bit each time on his career. I know the horse has never run on turf before, but what I was thinking about here is ran in that Kentucky Derby prep race, finished 2nd, ran in the Derby, didn't do much. No, not worried too much about that. Looked like here wanted to run on turf. Is that what happened, John, at Belmont the last time out? But then what? The weather couldn't run on turf.
Yeah,
I mean, on dirt. Yeah, on turf.
The race was rained off the turf.
Okay, so Pletcher obviously wanted to get him on turf, couldn't get him on turf, still won the race, a grade 3 race. So he's going back to turf again. And I think, hey, look, for some reason, he feels like the horse might do well on turf. I'm going to trust Pletcher and Rosario at 10 to 1.
Well, everything you said is true. And I'll add something to that the horse is bred top and bottom to love the grass. So, and they wanted to get him on the grass last time. The only problem I have is why am I going to bet a horse that's 10 to 1 that's never run on the turf when I could bet a horse that's 10 to 1 that's already proven to me on the turf? Can this horse jump up and win? Absolutely. But just from a betting standpoint, I would rather bet a horse that's done it already as opposed to guessing whether he'll hand. He could be bred up and down. Doesn't matter. He's never done it, though. Let's see him do it. When he does it, then I'll get respect for him and I'll use him. But again, anyone that wants to use this horse at 10-1, certainly go ahead and do so. I mean, you could make a case for him like you did. And again, the breeding, the fact that he was meant for turf last time. You see, I don't believe he'll be 10-1.
I know. That's the problem. I know.
It says 10-1, but let's say, listen, if the race comes off the turf, well, then you move way up, and this may be the horse to play then.
The 5 is Mark's one of Mark's picks, De Jour, a 9-2 shot. Now I'm assuming Baffert because he's not allowed to step foot on the track. So William Mott is taking over. 15, 14, 13, as you can see on the sheet line. So heading in the right direction. All 3 wins, all 3 with Pratt. Sounds very similar to the way Mark went with his 8th race pick. But this is not your top pick, but still a pretty good option at 9-2, Mark.
Yeah, for the price, we're going to get there at 9-2. Like you mentioned, Bob Baffert suspended, can't run the horse here, but he is Bob Baffert trained coming into the race. He likes the turf, obviously, 4 races, 3 wins in a second here. And next to the horse shipping in from Japan, he's the 2nd largest money earning horse in this race. I think if we can get anything near 5-1 or better on this horse, he has to be on the ticket.
John.
Well, by the way, if you check out the owner of the horse, you'll see who the horse really is trained by. So, Natalie Baffert, his wife, owns the horse.
Oh, surprise, huh?
Yeah.
What happens when the horses, do Baffert make deals with other trainers?
No. What happens is his horses are not allowed to run under his name in New York, plain and simple. But the truth of the matter is this horse shouldn't be allowed to run because everyone sees who the owner is. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a late scratch. Just my personal belief, So that's what he's doing. He's shipping horses to tracks that he's not allowed to run in under different trainers' names. But if you do any investigative work, and this you don't even have to do any work, you look at the damn program, and the owner is his wife. So we don't know that it's still Baffert. They could say Bill Mott there, but Bill Mott's not training the horse. I guarantee you the horse is still trained by Baffert. He's shipping in and running under, but the horse has been in New York. You see 3 works at Belmont, so maybe they transferred the horse. But again, I'm kind of thinking that this is still Bob Baffert. Just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Now, again, when in this situation, is it like, okay, you're going to see most horses that used to be Baffert's horses, he can't train them, obviously, will go to a specific trainer?
Most of them will stay in his assistant trainer's name. Barnes is his assistant trainer. And he's only not allowed to run in New York and Kentucky. Sure. He's still allowed to run in California. So, and it's not like he's based out here, but they're not allowing his horses to run at Saratoga. No New York circuit, no Kentucky circuit until the problem is resolved.
Okay, let's go with the 6. And this is Mark's top pick. John likes the horse as well, Hard Love. But again, you're talking about one of the co-favorites coming off back-to-back 13s, 3 out of 4, 2 for 2 at Belmont. Mark, you're going to go with Hard Love as your top pick.
Well, I got to feel pretty comfortable feeling that this horse will not go off the favorite, not with the 2 horse being 7-5 on the morning line odds. The horse is 2 for 2 at Belmont. Love has raced real well at the track. 4 turf races, 3 wins in a second. Likes the grass, likes where he very lightly raced, but 3 wins in a second in his career. He's 2 for 2, if you will, with Manny Franco up on top of the horse here. I'm going to play the horse. I don't think we're going to get. I'm going to get taken into the favorite role in this race, and if I don't, I think this horse could be right there at the wire.
John,
this horse is fine. He has an 11 as a 2-year-old, which is a very good number. His 2 races this year were both paceless races. He's eligible to make a forward move, and for that reason, I used him. Underneath. He's yet to go 1.25 miles, so that could be a little bit of a problem. But he's bred to run all day, so. Listen, the truth of the matter is at 5-2, he's no bargain because, as you see, his 13s are like a lot of other horses in this race that's run a 13, and he's the favorite. So really, it's a game time decision whether to use him, or it depends on if your king's so long well, then you could certainly include him. But that being said, he's really like other horses as far as numbers. The thing he has going for him, though, is the 11 as a 2-year-old. I think that's strong.
And again, out of the two favorites, the 2 and the 6 that you like, which is the one that you would prefer?
I probably would go with the 2 only because of the connections and the fact that the horse already has won at the distance and has won on courses like this where there's plenty of give in the race, in the track. By the way, the 11 that he ran as a 2-year-old, which was the best race of his life, was run on a good turf course, which he's going to get tomorrow. That means it was given in the course that day. It was the best race of his life. You know, they're tough to separate. They really are. And that's it.
Okay, let's go to the 7. And this is another horse that's shipping in, Tokyo Gold. A little bit more time off as far as the ship situation, but not as good as a horse. We're just seeing a couple of 13s in the last 2 races.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, obviously we don't know much about him. The numbers that he ran in France, if he runs at 13, he's like a lot of other horses. He is 15 to 1. I don't see Japanese horses. Well, this isn't a Japanese horse. This is a horse they run in Italy and France, so I don't know.
All right.
He's an unknown to me.
Let's go with the 8. And this is a horse we all like, Cellist. John, this is your top pick. I think this is what you were referring to when I talked about Sainthood at 10 to 1. No turf experience, but Cellist is 12 to 1. 2 wins in 4 turf tries, and each of the, well, actually, if you look at it, 21, 17, 11, so perfectly goes there. Even though bounces a tiny bit to a 13, still won the race. So another good horse to take because of the odds and a decent sheet line.
Right. I mean, let's look at this race. Who's run an 11 or better other than Hard Love, who ran it last year? Nobody. This horse has the 11, 2 starts back. I know that was a 6-point top, so he figured to react last time, and he only react 2 points. So to me, that's strong. He had every right to run a 15 or 16 off of the 11, and he basically held it together. Not only that, that was his first race without Lasix, and he didn't react bad. I think this horse has a shot to run the 11 at 12 to 1. That's the way I would go. I mean, you know, I don't care for the jockey, to be honest with you, but he's best on the front end, and I think this horse may get aggressive and go to the lead. And if that's the case at 12 to 1, I even like him more. This is my top pick in the race, especially at the price.
Mark?
You know, sometimes a jock does fit a horse, John. I know La Pro's not one of your favorite jocks, but he's been up on this horse all 4 races of its career. So there's, you know, some degree of comfortness there. I think the horse is moving forwardly here as well. 4 races on the turf, 2 wins in a second here. I think there's value in the horse, especially at 12 to 1. And I can completely understand where you're going with this. A lot of value to a horse that looks like it can improve on its number.
All right, before we get to the 9, I want to remind everybody, if you like the show, and especially if you like what we're doing here on the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And then this way, anytime the shows are available, if you frequent YouTube, they'll be available for you immediately after they are posted up on the site. If you like any of the shows, including this one, you can like the video. And if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and let us know what's on your mind. And especially if you have any questions, we'll definitely respond. Okay, the 9 is the long shot of the race. And John, you feel this horse is worth throwing in there. Why not 30 to 1? Asmussen Saez. And I'll throw up the sheet numbers here. Coming off a 16, but before that, ran his best race at 12.
Yeah, I mean, if you cover the 16 that he ran last time out, he ran 17, 14, 12, all forward-moving numbers. He's 30 to 1. He was allowed to bounce last time out, which he did do off of the 12. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just giving you a 30 to 1 shot that's live to get in if you're playing tries or supers somewhere on the bottom. Listen, he's as good as the 1 who's 15 to 1. He's as good as the 3 who's 15 to 1. He's as good as the 5. You know, he's as good as a lot of other horses in the race, and he's going to be 40 to 1 here. Why not include him?
All right, so let me go ahead and post up our selections here on the board. There they are. And again, just keep in mind, even though we have up here that John is going with race 8 with Miss Brazil, he also likes the 2 there, Inject, which is my top horse because of the odds at 8-1. Hopefully, Inject stays at 8-1. And you can see Mark's picks up there as well. So our picks right there, race 8, race 9 at Belmont. They will be getting underway about 4:30, 4:40 on Saturday. Keep an eye, though, on the weather, John, right?
Absolutely. Remember, the last race we did is the 9th race is for turf only. These are turf selections.
And also, next week, Del Mar opens up. So the San Diego Handicap is going to be a race that we might do. We have...
What about Saratoga?
Saratoga opens. We've got the Grade 1 Diana that hopefully we'll be able to talk about. And then Monmouth with the Grade 1 Haskell and the Grade 1 United Nations. The Haskell, of course, is a Breeders' Cup Challenge race. So we've got some really good races to choose from next week, guys.
Doesn't sound like we're going to smell Del Mar next week, though, Greg. Too much going on at Saratoga.
You never know, but I think you're right.
Yep.
All right, guys. Stay safe, everybody. Be well, and
good luck.
We'll talk to you.
All right.
Enjoy the races, guys. Have a great week.
We'll be with you. We're waiting for it. Harvey Pack passed away this
guys.
week.
Oh.
In Harvey Pack's honor, may the horse be with you.
Right. He passed away at 94.
God bless him.
So,
yes.
yeah.
Good man.
Thanks, guys. Be well.